Elite Facts presents
10 plot holes which will ruin your favorite movies.
10.
In Disney Pixar's Toy Story from 1995, there's one huge plot hole with the majority of this first film in the series. On Andy's birthday, he receives the new Buzz Lightyear toy, who, unlike the other toys in Andy's room, believes he is an actual space ranger and not, in fact, a toy. Thus, an interesting question comes about. If he believes he isn't a toy, then why does Buzz freeze with the other toys when Andy comes into the room? If he truly believes he's real, then surely moving when humans are around shouldn't matter to him, right? This also applies to the sequel, when they're in the aisle of Buzz Lightyear action figures in Al's toy barn. Surely they would all be trying to escape their imprisonment, right? I mean, everyone would know that Buzz Lightyear toys are in fact alive. There are some theories as to why Buzz freezes, but none of them have been confirmed by anyone who has actually worked on the films at Pixar. Is it possible they just hadn't considered this when creating the movie?
9.
In the film The Terminator from 1984, there's a problem which could cause a ripple effect throughout all of the future sequels and basically make them non-existent. The whole premise of the film is that, in the future, the world is involved in a war between the humans and the machines run by Skynet. The human resistance against the machines is led by John Connor, and so Skynet sends one of their Terminators back in time to kill John's mother, Sarah Connor, in order to prevent John from ever being born. So John sends a soldier, Kyle Reese, back in time to stop the Terminator and protect his mother. However, in doing so, Kyle Reese actually turns out to be John's father. You may be asking, well, where is the plot hole? Well, if Skynet is from the future, surely they should have known about this, and therefore, if they simply didn't send a Terminator back in time in the first place, John Connor wouldn't have sent Kyle Reese, and he would just fade out of existence because Kyle would never have met Sarah and Father John. So, when you actually think about it, the machines are the cause of their own destruction.
8.
In Back to the Future from 1985, in the scene where Marty manages to get back to his own time, there's quite a big problem. It has to do with the way Marty gets enough power into the DeLorean time machine. He has to time it perfectly so that he's going exactly 88 miles per hour as a wire from the clock tower connects with the DeLorean at the precise same moment that the lightning strikes the clock tower. Now, this sounds extremely difficult as it is, but Doc Brown manages to do the math, and he figures out the exact time that Marty needs to get the car to hit the wire as 10:04 p.m., which, according to its history, is the time the clock freezes on after it's hit by the lightning. While this is all well and good, the clock tower doesn't actually have a second hand, so although the tower stops at 10:04 when the lightning hits it, this could range anywhere between 10:04 and 0 seconds to 10:04 and 59 seconds. Even if the exact second was known, lightning only lasts a split second anyway, and therefore wouldn't reach the wire in time for Marty to travel through time. This would mean he'd be stuck in 1955 for a lot longer than we're supposed to believe.
7.
Many people know about the fridge incident in the movie Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. You know, how Indiana Jones survives a nuclear blast by putting himself inside of a fridge. Granted, it's pretty ridiculous. However, he should have actually died a long time before this movie, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989. Indy has to get through a series of challenges towards the end of the film. One of them is to step on a series of letters to spell out God's name, Jehovah. At one point, he accidentally steps on the letter J and collapses through the ground, only surviving by gripping the floor above him and pulling himself back up. And the only problem with this is that the letters he grabs onto are an L and a Y, which obviously aren't in the word Jehovah. Therefore, these letters would also have crumbled and Indy would have fallen to his death right there and then.
6.
In Blue Sky Studios' Ice Age from 2002, the whole premise of the film is that the animals try to return a human baby to its family. In one of the later scenes in the movie, the baby ends up going down an icy tunnel, and Manny, Sid, and Diego have to go after it. This isn't a massive plot hole, but it is big enough that it could ruin the movie for you. When the animals go down the tunnel after the baby, they go down on an icy sled. Eventually, along the tunnel, they get to a field of icicles, which are so sharp that the sled is shaved down to absolutely nothing before they get past. Now, think about this. If those icicles were that brutal against a sled, imagine what they would have done to the flesh of a baby without anything to protect it. The baby should definitely be dead at this point, and even if it did somehow manage to survive, it would have at least had some serious injuries. Yet no harm has been done when the baby is once again found. Then again, it is a kids' movie.
5,
In Batman: The Dark Knight Rises from 2012, there's a point where Bruce Wayne has been exiled from Gotham City, sent into a prison in Jodhpur, Rajasthan, India. Fair enough that he manages to escape the prison, but here lies a huge problem with the film. How does he return to Gotham? Not only does he have absolutely no resources whatsoever, being completely bankrupt, but he has no way of contacting Alfred or anyone else from Gotham. He doesn't even have any identification or passports to get back to the United States. Even if he did get back to America, the entire city of Gotham is being guarded by Bane's thugs. Yet we're supposed to believe that he manages to get back within a couple of days and stop a bomb from destroying the city? We don't think the readers really thought this one through, because without Batman, Gotham would be in ashes.
4,
In the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Frodo Baggins is tasked with returning the ring to Mordor to destroy it. This long adventure lasts the entire span of 3 individual movies, each with extended editions for DVD. So obviously this journey is supposed to be huge. There is, however, a plot hole to all of this. Along this journey, there are eagles which take Frodo and his friends on some of the journey to avoid a certain danger. So the question is asked, why only take them a little of the way? Why not just pick up Frodo from his house and take him all the way to Mordor to just drop the ring into? It could have easily been done, and most of the journey would have become pointless. Frodo could have been back at home in much quicker time and put his huge feet up to relax for the rest of the day.
3,
In Spider-Man II, released in 2004, Harry Osborn tells Dr. Octopus that Peter Parker has information on Spider-Man, so obviously neither of them know that Peter Parker is actually Spider-Man. Yet, regardless of this, when Dr. Octopus finds Peter, the first thing he does is throw a car towards him, and later throws him against a building with tremendous force. Now, if it were me and I wanted to find out information somebody had about someone, I'd want to keep them alive. Even if he survived the car being thrown, being whacked against a building at the force depicted in the movie would most definitely kill a man. And even when Peter survives both of these incidents, to us it would be fairly obvious at that point that he's Spider-Man, yet Dr. Octopus still has no idea.
2,
Now on to The Hangover, out in 2009. It's a fairly relaxed film, and it isn't meant to be taken too seriously. It's about a group of friends who get drunk during a bachelor party and then wake up the next morning with no clue as to what happened the night before, and with the groom-to-be, Doug, missing. They go on a wild goose chase to try and find him. The problem is with where he ends up being. After 2 days of retracing their steps from that night, they find out loads of things that happened, and eventually, as their memories become a little more clear, they find the groom to be on the roof of the hotel they were originally partying at. Are you telling us that Doug was just sitting on the roof of a building for 2 days straight? Surely he'd have moved or signaled for help, or at the very least tried to contact his friends. It doesn't make much sense for the big reveal at the end of the film.
1,
The problem with the film Titanic is with the 2 main characters, Jack and Rose, who are supposedly deeply in love. The reason we say supposedly is because at the end of the film, when they're in the water, Jack has to die because there's apparently not enough room on the plank for both him and Rose. But even the actress who played Rose has admitted that there was room for both if she had just moved over a little bit. Rose probably just wanted more leg room for the long float back home. If she had truly loved Jack, she would have let him on the plank without a second thought. Later in the film, when she thinks back to that night, she's probably regretting her decision. At least we hope she regrets it.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.